Hail, brothers and sisters. It's been quite a while since I made a video, and I finally decided that I had some things that I needed to say. You know, having as many members in a group that I've owned since the beginning, since it was made for me, and having as many friends as I do, I get asked a lot of questions, and I get asked a lot of the same questions over and over and over and over again, and I get so tired of repeating myself. And it's funny, you can tell when you own a group on Facebook that nobody reads anything that wasn't just posted, simply because they'll ask the same question that was just asked 3 posts down. What does it take to be a Satanist? What are the prerequisites that it requires to join the army of hell? And please believe there are some. But most people, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that everything's going to be handed to them. They want to hear that they get everything on a silver platter for nothing. They want to believe that they can say, oh, well, I sell this thing that I don't even understand, and I get everything I ever wanted. Some of them, for quite some years, do get a semblance of that. I was told a story once about a man who, quote-unquote, sold his soul to Satan for money. And this man won the lottery, $50 million. And this man immediately took this money and went and bought all these expensive cars and this nice houses and all this crap for himself, and never bothered with any of the people that were there for him when he needed them back when he was this person, because he was so obsessed with the fact that he got his wish that he forgot about everybody else. And this man went to his beach house in California and had a beautiful party weekend. But unfortunately, while he slept that night, the rocks and the sand started to shake. And this man's house fell down on top of him. And immediately, this man was killed. So, was it worth it? I don't know. If the man had decided to use his money properly and help people, would he have lived longer? I can't answer that either. However, is there a chance that if he hadn't been selfishly out partying and maybe helping somebody that cared about him, family or friend, that maybe this man might have been alive that day instead, because he did the right thing with what he traded instead of the wrong, selfish, egotistical thing like most people? I see this all the time. People come to me with these questions. They ask me, well, what can I do to trade my soul for power or for money or for connection to this specific demon? Or how do you connect to this demon? Because it says that this guy will help you with this and this and this, and this is what I want. And it makes me laugh, because I actually do speak with them, several of them. And of the many things that I've learned, it's that unknowingly connecting oneself to a demon without proper, complete knowledge of what you're doing in advance is a recipe for mental, physical, and probably everybody around you disaster when you start opening holes and doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing. But again, free will, you do what you want. If you want to ruin your life and the life of everybody around you because you don't know what you're doing magically, go ahead. You know, they ask me all the time, how can I do a spell or do a ritual for this? And I won't tell them. My response is, I don't teach magic like that, because I don't use magic like that, as is obvious by my life. Am I rich, powerful, important? No, apparently not, because my life has been a constant stream of everybody telling me I was wrong and turning their back on me while I was trying to help them instead. I don't know. Just, you get used to it after a while. I'm not bitching. I'm not preaching. But it's the truth. The truth is, most people that call themselves Satanists are only doing it because they want respect from everybody else. They'll use the names, ancient names that they don't even understand, to refer to themselves, and in turn be calling in these spirits and not even understand them. Why? Because maybe some of them are connected and do this to themselves accidentally, because the people that are training them don't know anything, and the ones that do aren't teaching anything, because people are fucking stupid and they hoard knowledge. So this is what our family has become, is the young ones down here that don't know anything, looking for one of a bajillion people that are telling them they know what they're talking about to guide them towards what they need to know. But most of the time, all they get is somebody that says, well, pay me this much money to join our group and then subscribe to our newsletter and we'll give you advice. But this isn't training. This isn't one-on-one guidance. This is like school, and I didn't learn shit in school. Matter of fact, I called my teachers out several times when they didn't know what they were talking about. And it wasn't because I felt myself better than them. It was because they were wrong. Because I knew what was in the book. The actual facts, 2 + 2 = 4, and this chemical plus this chemical equals this. When the teacher would screw that up with the other kids, yeah, I called them on it. So what? And yeah, I got thrown out of the army for being a Satanist. Why? Because, A, when they would do stupid shit to people, I would be the one to stand up for them. You don't believe me? There's a soldier that could attest that failed his PT test, and his sergeant told him he was worthless. He just came out of AIT and failed, and he's worthless. He's never going to be anything. I said, leave him under my care 1 month, and I wasn't even that good. I suck at running, hate it, always have. But I said 1 month under me, and I guarantee you he will pass his PT test. That next PT test came up, and it was easy for him, and he passed it. And I laughed at my sergeant that same day when I passed my PT test. You don't believe me? His sergeant name was Sergeant John Ritchie. And I wrote all this down in a 400+ page book. And yet, people still don't want to read it. They still don't want to believe that anything in the book actually happened. Or that anything I'm saying to them about what I know and the things that I connect to are actually real. And my question to them is, if you don't want to believe any of this, why are you trying to call yourself a Satanist? Why are you asking me for help when obviously you don't want to hear it? I'd say, take your ass on. Go let these other people lie to you. I know several people told me the same things about how they were manipulated and tooled around until somebody fucked them over trying to own them. And I'm sick of it. Maybe I do act differently than everybody else. Maybe that's what it's needed that nobody else seems to have right now. But that can change. I've talked to several people about that, and they believe it too. But belief between 3 or 4 that we can actually be Satanists and not children is really not the popular opinion. Most people want to believe we should argue with each other until this whole place blows up. You know, I've been doing things and seeing things and researching in my own way because I see signs and clues in references that I see. I made reference to the fact that I've played several, and in fact, all of currently the Assassin's Creed games that are on the system that I play it for, all the way 1 through 4, including the entire truth. And the fact that I saw the entire truth and took the time to look at it and not just hurry up and solve the puzzle made me understand a lot of what has been really going on. Do I believe that every single name and every single word in there is true? Of course not. It's a video game. And you can't take a video game 100% at face value. It has to be toned down a bit. But when you see all the information, all the conspiracies that have gone back hundreds of years, and how disgusting it all is, it makes you sick. And you know it's true, because you can look right there and see it. But people just want to argue. There's a Christian that takes all this information, obviously he didn't play it, and argues it with the Bible, and he also argues books that were researched over decades about Leonardo da Vinci and many other sources, and takes this and all and turns it into a big argument as to why the Bible refutes it all. And people like this are so stupid it makes me sick. Now, whether that's a Christian Bible or a satanic Bible or this book here or that book there, if you believe in your mind that any one of these books is the only thing that needs to be researched and taught, you're stupid. Because no one book can lead you all the way where you got to go. You actually have to think, especially on this path. Satanism's core concept is self-enlightenment. And no one can teach that to you. They can help you. They can give you some advice. But no man can grab you by the hand and say, this is your path. Why? Because your path is your own individual. If it wasn't, we would all be the same. And that makes no sense. Me personally, yeah, my path is strange. You don't believe it? Read the book. Read the ways and what I've seen and what I go through and things that I support. If that's not enough, or if you want something shorter, I just wrote a science paper about another thing I support. Marijuana. Why? As an example, myself and some others, through the situations explained in the paper, found ourselves in a situation where we were violently sick from what would be considered the replacement to this. And so, after going through what we went through, I wrote a paper about what the cure was for this and why it was a problem that might hurt somebody and make them violently ill. I took this paper and I posted it online just like I did with the story for free. I didn't ask anybody for $9.95 or $14.95 or $2.95 or 89 cents or whatever. I just said, here, read this. It's important, just like the book. And yet still, nobody reads. Nobody's doing anything. How is it I can send a paper that can explain scientifically why the marijuana legislation is the reason why spice will kill people to the governor of the state that's involved in, and he still doesn't do anything? Really? Are you serious? Why is it I can write a 400-plus page book about Satanism today in our time, not 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago or in a dimension you don't even understand, but right here in the world today, and people just don't want to read it because it's not worth their time, but yet they want my time to answer their questions? I'd say most of these people need to start unfriending me, leaving my group and any other serious Satanism group that there is. Because at least if I'm trying to help, why is it that I'm being ignored while all the people that seem to want nothing more than what they can get out of others are being listened to in droves? Let's all go to the Civic Center and hold a big black mass like they're actually going to care about us and pay our $39.95. I wonder how much money they made off that. And I wonder how much money they fed the system off all that. The system that Satanism's supposed to be fighting. But we don't understand that either because we think the Illuminati's a good thing, right? The fact that they oppress us and want us to die, the fact that this world is falling apart, yes, these are wonderful, good things, and I'm sure they care so much about us. And you think they're real Satanists? They abuse it, they use the name, because then you'll be friendly with them and try to help them. Just like the ones that ask for your $266.66 or whatever. Everybody wants something from you. I just said, here, read this. Didn't charge you for it. Just said, here, read this, because I wrote it. And before I wrote it, I lived it. Just like the science paper. I lived through it before I wrote it. And just like my life, every person that I've encountered can attest that this is true. But somebody needs to start just accepting these things. I have. And if you don't want to, go away. Because I don't need it anymore. If you're not going to help stop these problems that are killing people, I don't need to argue with you. You have already lost. And for that reason, I don't have to concern myself with you, because we will all die eventually. I will see you down there, and we will deal with your idiocy then, because stupidity is the cardinal sin, and 99.95% of people are guilty of it. Hail to the Father and all his true children.